How you doing? This is Vinyl with Taste, episode 11.
And I am the man in the little box, Oldskool pack.
Right there. With a little coat. This is our social distance episode number 2. I shouldn't call it that. It sounds so corny.
Yeah, right.
Social distancing. Which you should practice. Which I do. That's why I have this mustache. Which will be leaving me.
That's right. I forgot. You do cut hair. God, I wish I could use you over here right now. But again, social distancing.
I don't know. I thought they said 2 weeks. So I left most of my shit there. Can't cut this with a razor. I'll rip my face off. Like the next episode, I'll be like a skeleton. A skeleton face and skeleton hands from washing them all the time.
Yeah, right.
This is our Misfits episode. It's Skeleton Neil over here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna kick this off. We should talk about that Danzig Sings Elvis episode. I pre-ordered that.
Oh, you did? You got that? That's cool.
I pre-ordered because I wanted the CD because I heard there's a lot of problems with the LP, like a lot of quality control albums on that. Like people are noticing that they're warped and they're like scuffed, and I don't want to deal with that. I'll just get the CD. I listen to CDs too, as well as vinyl. But I don't want to, like, I wanted the LP, but I don't want to have to return it 3 times.
Yeah, no, I've only heard one song off of the forthcoming Danzig.
The single.
Elvis.
The single.
And the single which was One Night with You. Which Danzig, I thought, if you listen to the Elvis version and the Danzig version, you're like, what's going on? But if you watch the version of it that Elvis did in a 68 comeback special, then you'll immediately recognize what Danzig is doing with that song.
That shows how much of a fan he is.
Yeah, he's doing the comeback 68 special version of that song. Rather than the original Elvis recorded version of that song, which was itself, of course, a cover. Other artists did that song as well, including Fats Domino. Good song. It's funny, when Elvis did it, and Danzig, he did it the way Elvis sang it. But Elvis changed the lyrics to that song because it was originally One Night with You was like about having a night of sin. And Elvis was a good Christian boy. So
absolutely.
He cleaned it up a little bit. And Danzig stayed true to the Elvis version.
All right, so...
But I can't wait to hear the other stuff on that record.
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. It'll be a while. Shit, I'll probably be back to work by the time I get that in the mail.
Since we're talking about Elvis, man, I might as well bring up...
Yeah, it's a perfect time to do it.
Yeah, so long time ago, Dover had a bar called the Touchdown, and after the Touchdown, it was... Oh, I'm sorry. First it was a Dugout, then it was a Touchdown. And the owner...
And it's still the Touchdown.
Now it's Tom's Bullpen, so it's different ownership because the old owner died.
Oh, that's right. It is Tom's Bullpen.
But he brought this guy down from Jersey named Jim Barone.
But wait a minute. We still have a Touchdown. It was Buffalo Wild Wings, and then it was Tom's Bullpen.
Man, you're right. I'm getting this all screwed up. It was the Dugout.
The Dugout.
Then it was JW.
That's right. Yep.
And now it's Tom's Bullpen. But the owner of the Dugout / JW's, before he died, he brought this guy, Jim Barone, down from New Jersey into Delaware to perform, which Jim Barone doesn't do a lot of times because he makes more money up north in Jersey and New York City.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy is more than an Elvis impersonator, Jim Barone. He doesn't look much like Elvis at all, actually. I mean, just doesn't.
I didn't think, yeah. Rosy cheeks and the sideburns. But he's got mutton chops.
He's got the trappings, but if you close your eyes and listen, I mean, he sounds like Elvis. I mean, he sings just like Elvis. And really, what's harder to do, look like him or sing like him? I think singing. I'd rather have somebody that sounds like him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I saw Jim Barone perform when my son Kevin was in utero. I saw him perform again with Elvis's original drummer, DJ Fontana, when Kevin, my son, was, 4 or 5. And we met DJ Fontana. And he signed a pair of drumsticks for my son. And but anyway, I think Jim Barone's a really cool dude who has a very, very close voice to the Kings. And so I would recommend him to anybody who likes Elvis. And he's doing a live stream on Facebook tonight because that's the new thing, right? You can't go see bands.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna check that out. 8:30.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing it. He's doing Aloha from Hawaii, which was, of course, the famous concert that Elvis did in the 70s, which was watched by millions around the globe.
I got that album from Second and Charles. It's in Delaware. They have a great vinyl selection. I wouldn't suggest the CD selection. The CD selection's pretty bad, but they got an excellent vinyl selection. Great comic books if you like those, and like books if people still read those.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle was an impersonator. Well, not my uncle, but my grandfather's brother, so my great uncle in North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
I never saw him perform, so I don't even know if he was any good. But he didn't. He certainly didn't freaking look like him. Not by a long shot.
Well, I guess you could say it's not easy to look like Elvis or sound like Elvis, but
No.
what do I want to see?
I'm sure that was horrible.
Yeah, I'd rather you sound like him and look like him. I don't care what looks. So.
Well, I'm gonna talk about a couple, something a little bit different, just to try to like ease a couple of things into the show that I haven't really talked about before, and one is some of my classical music collection. One of my customers got me to go into the library to look at their vinyl, which I did put that off for like weeks, if not months, and I eventually did it because I go to the post office right there like twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, and they had some good stuff, man. They did. I got this. This is great. This Eric Satie album.
Oh yeah, I've heard you mention him.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Pretty much the father of ambient music. He was really the first one. Probably not the first one, but the first one in popular music, possibly to measure his music. So like that would be like like drone, I guess, kind of came out of that ambient music and drone.
What is the time frame you're speaking of? Just curious.
So that would probably be like the 1800s.
Oh, okay.
So of course, like this isn't like you're getting the interpretation, since nobody was making fucking vinyl back then. You're getting like It says, but the piano parts were done by Charles Miles. Interesting enough, I've looked him up. I can't find anything on Charles Miles, what he's done, what his work sounds like, or anything like that. But the library did have a musical. It's the label is Musical Heritage Society, so they do like pretty much just classical music. They were all $1. I only had $5 in my pocket. I said, you're gonna here take the $5. Don't insult me. Don't insult the artist. Just take the $5. Donate it to the library. I'm not paying $1 for that. It's ridiculous. I yelped when I saw it. I yelped. People were looking at me like, look at this homeless dude over here. He's yelping, hollering. Great find. Like I pooped just a little bit. And also with this one, this is great. This is Surly. I mean, I'm gonna butcher a lot of the names on these classical music albums just because I'm not good with pronouncing names. This is concert 3x3. So an introduction to two-dimensional music. Which is really interesting. The stuff is all over the place. I don't know if you can see that, Pat, through the...
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is I didn't know that Ron King was alive in 1900.
Is he on there? Is he credited?
I thought it was funny. Like it kind of looks like him.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Maybe in 25 years or something.
And this is a great album. It's all over the place. Like it really I put this on CD. The funny thing about this album is I wish I could talk more about it than just reading it off the back. But I have not been able to find much information on the artist, and I have not been able to find this album because I wanted to see if there was maybe on CD or like if I could get another pressing, just because I really love the album so much. I thought it was so great. It's probably one of my favorite classical albums, other than Henning Christensen. who is a German composer. One of my favorites. Like this, it's just so good. And I found no information, so not everything's on the internet, I guess.
Yeah.
And I got one more, and this is a box set. I did not get this at the library, but it's Igor Stravinsky. So I thought this was pretty cool. This is like a 10 record set. I got it on Discogs. The guy wanted 20 for it, and God knows what he wanted for shipping. But I was like, dude, I'll give you $8. No, I said I'll give you $5, and then charge me what you want for shipping. He was like, because the booklet is missing the staples, and the set is like taped together. But we decided on $8 and a $5 shipping for this big set. And I was just hoping the records were clean, like he said. The records are clean, they're beautiful. I like this set. A lot of it is, I like a lot of interpretive dance and the classical music and jazz music that accompanies interpretive dance, because it's more abstract and it's more avant-garde.
Right.
And that's what I like. So I like interpretive dance stuff. And a lot of the jazz, because a lot of it is free jazz and classical music, and he did a lot of that stuff. And one more thing, I want to just go through it real quick. The stuff on here is cool. Normally, I don't like it when they throw in interviews and stuff on the record or CD. Normally, I think it takes from it. But this is very informative, and I found myself not hating the fact that they did that in some spots, because normally I'm not a fan of that at all. But I think it's a great deal. $14 shipped, it's like big meaty set, and the booklet, you can read it. It's just I probably should restaple it, but this is really great. Really glad that I got that.
Sure.
Put that back. So that's the classical segment number 1. What else do we want to talk about, Pat?
Well, I've got one pulled out. If you want to, if I can show them this, it's the Lydia Lunch segment.
Oh, that's cool. Is that a record?
This is a CD called. Well, it's a compilation of.
Is that a CD?
It is. Yeah. Hang on. It's in a bag.
It looks like a record.
Yeah. No, it's a.
Oh, it's like one of the paper CDs that make it look like a record.
Yeah. But what it is this is Lydia Lunch, who started out, as a teenager, ran away to New York City.
1976.
Was a Dead Boys groupie, was a musician, was part of the No Wave movement, and her first band was Teenage Jesus and the Jerks, which is a great name for a band. Anyway, makes you want to check it out. But she was 16 when she fronted this band and wrote all these songs herself. And they're probably one of the better no wave bands. I mean, if you consider who was out in the scene at that time.
Well, I like them better than DNA.
Yeah. And so the CD I showed you is called Everything, because it's their whole output. It's 10 songs.
Okay.
After Teenage Jesus and the Jerks' short life, Lydia Lunch formed the short-lived Bay Ridge Slump, who released one great record called Try Me. And then she worked with Eight-Eyed Spy. Hey, Neil, do you have that? There's a great compilation of her early work.
Oh, yeah.
Called History.
You're buying that.
Yeah, I'm buying it off Neil. I taped it off somebody a million years ago when he used to tape things off people. But Lydia Lunch History is a retrospective, just covers her work from the Teenage Jerks era to 1986, which is when this compilation was released. And Neil ordered it for me and got it on Discogs for $8, which is great.
Yeah. Well, with shipping, it was about 10.
Okay.
Which is great because, people are selling. I've seen sales for $30 for this CD.
Mm-hmm.
$30.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, hey, man, I'm glad you said something when you did, because this is the last cheap copy.
I'm sure that to get it on double LP or whatever, it's a lot more money.
About $30. It's about the same. It's about the same if you want to get the CD or if you want to get the double LP. It'll run you about $30. But I've seen it go as high as $60. You can get it between $30 and $60. But this is a nice $10 copy. The booklet is clean.
Oh, cool! I just found something I was looking for, which was another Lydia Lunch release that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, you have a few, right?
I do, and that's the thing. Like, all of a sudden, I couldn't find them in my move from across town here. So, now I found one of the two I wanted to talk about. Okay, so Lydia Lunch's first solo record was released in 1980. It was called Queen of Siam.
Yeah.
And it's a very worthwhile solo effort that she did.
I listened to that, actually, the other day on YouTube.
Yeah, it's kind of... What do you think, Neil?
I thought it was good. I probably wouldn't buy it, but it like the stuff on this compilation is just much more I don't want to say noisy, but maybe like kind of like no wavy or avant-garde. The stuff on here is really good, even though it's mostly live. You know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great a lot of 70s material from Lou Reed was live. The first MC5 album was live. There's a lot of great live albums. Anyway, I don't want to take from your speaking of Lydia Lunch because it does interest me, and I liked this compilation a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Well, let me show you the other one that I could find, which is called 1313. It was her second solo album. I have this on CD as well.
Nice.
And it was recorded in 81 and released in 82. It's probably her best work as a solo artist as opposed to some, Teenage Jesus or Baby to Slump or something. 1313, if I had to recommend, you get one thing by Lydia Lunch, it would probably be 1313 just because of the ambiance of this album and just the true morbid creepiness of it all.
I gotta check.
I don't know what genre you call any of this stuff. I don't think it has a genre.
I gotta check that out.
Later on in the 80s, Lydia Lunch did things. She worked with, Sonic Youth on Death Valley 69. She worked with underground filmmaker Richard Kern on a series of movies. There was one where Henry Rollins was the other actor beating the shit out of her, and there was one that was, it was basically like porn. But I got to see Lydia Lunch finally after many, many years in Philadelphia. She was really nice. She wasn't abrasive at all to me. I got up, we took a picture together at the Come From Necktie in Philly, and her band was, she had an excellent band behind her. They were great. Again, doing what they did, it's just really hard to categorize what that music is exactly, but
she seems like I'm a fan of Lisa Suck Dog, and it seems like I don't know if I'm just like saying it because it seems like they're both kind of out artists that are women, but it seems like she would have like maybe like been into something like Teenage Jesus and the Jerks or something like that. I don't know. It's just like what popped into my head when I heard it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, gosh, I wish I could find my Queen of Siam. That's something I'm gonna do after this.
Well, I'm sure you got it.
Yeah, it's around here somewhere.
What else? There's a couple things. I don't know. See, I don't even really feel like it's that interesting now because I talked about all these artists like a million freaking times. But I did make a legends list of 10 artists that, I can like defend all of their work, and I have to and I have to have over 20 albums from every artist, over 20. So the list made itself. I wasn't in control of this list at all. So I'm gonna like just read those off. Gigi Allen, obviously everybody knows I'm a giant Gigi fan. The Ramones, I have over 20 albums. I'm into collecting the live bootlegs now. Please, if you're into collecting Ramones live bootlegs, try to get a sound sample, so you will not be disappointed and spend a shit ton of money. Because it's very important. You do not want to get a Ramones live album that sounds like a live Gigi album. Don't do it. It's two different things. Genesis P. Orchardge, again from one of our artist spotlight episodes, which we'll do. We have Sex Pistols artist spotlight coming up in the future. That'll be a very special episode for both of us. It might be a two-parter. I don't know. There's a lot of information to cover in just that couple of years. Lee Scratch Perry. Lee Scratch Perry. I can defend his even when he was dealing with hardcore alcoholism throughout the 80s, and people said that he was just sleepwalking through his vocals and he was only as good as the producer. Well, that's half true. I can get something. He's one of my favorite lyricist and vocalist of all time, and no matter what he does, him, Vibes Cartel, Charles Manson, lyrically these guys are amazing. They're some of my favorite lyrics. Genesis P. Orchardge, their lyrics, just gigantic influence on me. Genesis P. Orchardge, Lee Scratch Perry, Charles Manson, Vibes Cartel, like the lyrics. I mean, I wish I could write lyrics like that. I've written some great lyrics, but most of them come out as like dick and fart jokes.
Yeah, no, I like your commitment to an artist. Like you're picking, some difficult people. I mean, I know people that like the Black Art Lee Perry when they, when it comes to stuff that came out in the 2000s, they just roll their eyes.
Yeah, there's something
to it.
like it all. You don't, yeah, because I can take away something from it. The Guy Reggae, they're a Japanese noise group that roughly translates to the Vomit Shit Band. They have an album coming out here soon, but it's been delayed because of the coronavirus. Called Piss Shower Girlfriend. And they've been around since I think 82. One of the members was an older gentleman back when they started. I think he's dead now. And he didn't really play anything. He just masturbated on stage. But yeah, if you like it, Guy Reggae, check it out. If you can read this backwards, because all of our shit is backwards. Here's a tape. The Guy Reggae. Or, just ask me. Put it in the comments. Next one, Cocky SP. They're pretty great. They're kind of a goofy, again, noise group. This is a good this is Cocky SP with Al Qaeda. This is called Music for Two Cassette Players. So you play both of these cassettes at the same time. That's what it's made to do. Very fun record. Very fun to listen to. Very cool. I always wanted to show this off on the show, but I know Emil. He's a good friend of mine. He actually invited me to spin reggae during the No Fun Fest for the West Indian crowd that hung around outside. I didn't do that because I'm not flying to Florida. Next, Capleton. I have many singles with Capleton. I think he's great. I think he's not as prolific as Sizzla, but I think quality control takes over. He does. I know it because I would have no money. I would be living in a tent, but I would have all the Capleton albums. He's definitely, the quality is there. More than the quantity. Because Sizzla's great, but he's put out some diarrhea. Vibes Cartel. Oh my God, just everything. I can't believe I have over 20 albums. That's something that I looked at and I was like flabbergasted that I had that much. I didn't know. Yeah. Didn't know that I did. Ninja Man, another one that I was flabbergasted. You know who pointed that out, my Ninja Man collection?
Who?
You. When you were over here and you're like, you got a lot of Ninja Man CDs. And I was like, what? Do I? I said, holy shit. It's over 20. That's ridiculous.
He's somebody, wow. I mean, what a career.
And I thought one of my buddies put it together. He was saying, Ninja Man is hard to take over a full length album. He's like, how do you play album after album? So I think like that's what Dancehall sounded like in 1990.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds alien to you when you listen to it now because dancehall hasn't sounded like that since 1990. Or since like 94 and started changing. Right. It's always changing.
Yeah, and Ninja Man, he changed right along with it.
Yep, he did. Up until he went to jail, he came back out. He did tracks like Jamaica Town, which is my favorite. He didn't miss a beat. He kept doing track, and then he went, and then when he went to trial for the second time, he went away. But he did some of his best material after he in the 2000s, in the late 2000s, which is amazing. And then one more, George Clinton. Phenomenal.
Oh, you moved on. Okay, all right.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to finish the list and not sound like a blowhard.
Yeah.
But George Clinton, one of my favorite American producers, right next to Phil Spector, because it's when he still produces. And the thing I like about George Clinton is like if you get a new record that he's done, it sounds like you're in the room. He's super talented when it comes to production. One of my favorites. And he did recently retire from touring just because he is not healthy. If he gets coronavirus, he's dead.
Gotcha.
He is not. So he's not. He retired from touring a little bit before this shit hit last year.
Good time to retire, buddy. Good time.
Yeah.
Everybody's retired now, right? For the time being. But I mean, it was a good time to. I mean, if you're gonna take a break, everybody's on pause. So.
And we were talking about because we both watched the series Tales from the Tour Bus.
Yeah, with Mike Judge talking about different artists in different episodes.
And he was saying like George Clinton on there criticized Bootsy for laying down like the bass line for Delight.
Oh, he did. He didn't like that, huh?
Yeah, he was like, "Fuck that disco shit." He said it right on the show. He's like, "Fuck that disco shit." But
I don't remember. That's hilarious, though.
I'm telling you, man, he's heavy. He's heavy. I love him some George.
And of course, that Delight song was huge.
It was huge. It was huge. Bootsy didn't want to be the front man, as you know from the show. He didn't want to be a front man, even though I think Bootsy Collins' albums are fantastic. The Rubber Band Band, I've always loved that stuff. I'm not a funk
connoisseur
guy, no, but I don't have to be. It's like Slayer. I love Slayer. You love Slayer, and we're not thrash heads at all.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Slayer was just like stuff I grew up on, and I was happy to take Kevin to see them on their final tour. They did.
That's neat. I bet that was heavy.
Yeah, it was my first time seeing them, and it was their final tour. So I didn't get to see the original guitar player Haddam and Jeff Haddam. I didn't get to see the original drummer even, Dave Lombardo, which arguably some people would say I didn't see Slayer at all.
Well, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, but I mean, it was Kerry King and.
Well, look at like Metallica. How many original members are in Metallica?
Actually, they only. Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Two.
They changed guitars and bass players.
So two.
Two.
So you saw Slayer. Fuck you.
But I mean, the guitar player switchover was so early anyway.
Yeah, it was super early. Kirk. Yeah, I'm splitting hairs, man. I'm not even like a diehard Slayer fan, but I have a couple albums.
Yeah, I mean, there were times in my life where I used Slayer lyrics for English class assignments. So I mean, I can still quote you, Slayer lyrics like hella wait, so I could do it for you.
It's funny. I didn't think that we would go into like a Slayer sidecar, but it happened, and that's amazing.
Hey. It's like my iPod on random. Anything can happen.
Yeah. Wow.
It's insane. Nobody would ever mix things up like that, but I like to mix it up. I really do. And to this day, one of my to my great consternation, at any of these festivals or rock concerts. I never see them really mix it up when it comes to genres the way I'd like to see. I'd like to see a festival where you can have punk and reggae or metal
I guess they don't do that. People try to say that Firefly is doing that, but I don't agree.
No way.
I don't like the flaming lips and the black keys. That's not me.
Firefly has an obvious bias against hard rock and metal because I don't think they've ever had any.
Yeah, but they wouldn't say that.
Yeah, Firefly also has a bias towards local bands. Like the only one they ever let in was
very true.
It was a rap group. Cyberclick. I don't know.
Cypherclick,
I think is what it's called. And that's fine. I'm glad those guys got to do it. I just wish that they would let more local Dover bands in. Because there actually are Dover bands.
Yeah, that could do it.
Yeah, they play original music. They aren't just a cover band.
Yeah, and you don't have to. You can like them or hate them, but they're still local bands to Dover, Delaware. That's still a good thing. I mean, I talk a lot of shit, but I respect all those people for playing music and doing what they want to do. I don't have to be into it. It's still your local music. Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about my dancehall vibes thing, just to talk about some new Jamaican music, which I haven't done, and it's embarrassing that I haven't. But I don't think that we have the time to talk about the Dancehall Vibes series and Dancehall Neil Tapes, my label. And it's one and the same, so I'll pick one and give a quick run through. That maybe will take a few minutes, and that's Dancehall Neil Tapes.
Okay.
Pat's got some of these. I have a label that puts out modern Jamaican music, reggae, and dancehall. And I've done this for a year and a half, and I have about 9 releases.
Yeah, I've got a couple. No, I've got a few tapes, and I have.
You gotta let me know what you don't have, because I'll give you some when I give you this Lydia Lunch.
Okay.
So it got.
I'll tell you. Yeah. I can tell you because you're doing the tapes right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tape wise, I got some good ones here. I got the first one I got is called The Mask Man.
Oh yeah, Mr. Obeya.
Mask Boss. And I also have Pink Boss and Urban.
You have the Cola Cola?
I do, but not on tape.
Oh, well, I'll give you that one. Because I have a Cola Cola cassette, and so you don't even have all the reggae stuff.
Oh, I do. Sorry, Neil. I have Cola Cola Red, Green, and Gold.
Do you have Fire George, Burn Up Babylon with Fire George?
No.
That's artwork by Dave.
Oh, is it? Nice.
Yeah, I think you'll like this one. This is a reggae, more like if I do anything more with the label, it's probably going to be concentrated towards Cola Cola and Fire George, just because they're super easy to work with. There's no hidden agendas. They're devout Rastafarians, and they just treat people well. And they treat people with respect, and I don't want to be treated like shit. Not to say that all these artists do, but there's some that have treated me like complete shit. The Masked Man was really great and really friendly to me. Believe it or not, as hard as his music is, Urban, and that's heavy. He was really friendly, but I have had issues. But we want to do an exclusive single with Fire George coming up in the future. So then you need to get Tommy Lee sound-alike, and I mean that with all due respect. I love me some Tommy Lee Sparta. Ace God. That's a good one. Of course, the Fire George. Fully Bad. Here's why I like Fully Bad. Artwork by Rachel Gallo from Fishtown, Pennsylvania. This album is called Evil Sotil. See, and Jamaica's been hurting artistically, I think, for the past 5 or 6 years. Let's say 6 years. They need a new Don. They need somebody to carry them. I'm saying I still love it. I still support it. Somebody needs to stand up for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know nobody that will, but I'll stand up for them. Always. I'm always here. And they know I'm always here for them. But the music is hurting a little bit, and it has for about the past 6 years. And there'll be another Jamaican music renaissance, like there was in 2008, 2009, 2010. When it was hitting so heavy, it was just like whooped me across the face.
Yeah.
But right now, it's not that time. But there will be a time. Just it's been a little tough the last 6 years. Here's another one that Dave did the artwork for. This is Quatablan, Yin Yang Rhythms. I don't know if you can see that. They did. He's a tattoo artist.
I see it.
He tattooed superstars like the dancehall artist DeMarco. Who else did he do? He did. There I go, brain farting. It's just so much. It's so much music. But see, I didn't. I probably could have given you more information if I talked about the Dancehall Vibe series. I don't sell the Dancehall Vibe series. That's for me. I keep that for me personally because when I buy a single, I haven't gotten any new Jamaican 45s in the mail since 2013.
Wow.
Since 2013, they've shut 90% of the record shop distribution down in Jamaica. They don't fuck with it anymore.
That's true.
But they 45s ruled until 2013. That's ridiculously late.
Yeah.
Everybody's online now. But yeah, that gives you some, Fire George, Cola, Fully Bad, Quatabland, Pink Balls, Ace God.
Nice lineup, Neil.
And I mean, I'm lucky to do it. But like I said, I'm probably if I come out through this COVID-19 unscathed, we will I'm definitely going to be working more with Fire George and Cola. I have Cola tape being worked on right now, but I cannot afford to pay the process, to get them made up. It's very expensive to do all of these. It's not cheap to make these releases.
Well, I look forward to your future efforts.
And I gotta hook you up when I give you this Lydia Lunch. I'll give you some stuff to go along with it. We are about 38 minutes. Where did the time go? I feel bad.
We can talk about music all day.
We could. Hey, you know what? If you got something that you want to talk about to bring us out, the next 5 minutes, talk about, pick something out, man.
Yeah, sure. I'll do an outro. So I was just flipping through while looking for my cleanest I am, and I was like, well, this is kind of neat because this is something you don't see a lot of. And it is my Tighten Up box set. Tighten Up was a budget Jamaican compilation series.
Ska?
Of the 1960s. And this is something you don't see every day. Do you see that, Neil?
Yes.
So it's a triple out box set with Tighten Up volumes 1, 2, and 3 in it.